I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda. And this is The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey there, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast. The last 6 weeks for us has been what I think most people would say is insane. So this week we're talking about what the last 6 weeks has taught us about leadership, capacity, and staying on track. It's been a doozy for sure.
It has been. We won't even get into the personal side. Let me tell you now, it has been absolutely chaos as well. But just to let you know kind of where we've been at in-person events, we started with a 6-day in Bangkok badassery with women from all over the world, and then went straight into 5 global conferences or 3-day conferences where we see Amanda spoke. We ended it with 4-day intensive with a client. Besides, how many virtual events did you have as well?
I had 9 virtual summits that actually, I have 2 more that I haven't done yet this week, tomorrow, or the day after. So 9 virtual summits in March, plus, 4 or 5 podcast interviews. You had an interview that you did here in Bangkok. You also, ridiculous amounts of events.
It was Women's
Day stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was insane. And the conferences too, I'm seeing them. Thank God you took over one. So I only had to MC 4 this year, but it's people from all over the world too. And we were working on our businesses at the same time. And so I know we're missing something, but that just is giving you the gist. And this isn't for some bozo badge or like a button to say, oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Yeah. That's besides the point. What we're doing is we're just giving you kind of the baseline of like what happens. That way we can tell you like life happens still during this time, right? And it can be so easy when we're so at capacity to get into straight reactive mode and not stay present and grounded in all the things, right? All the things, because it was a lot and it wasn't necessarily planned this way, but March is our busy month. End of February, beginning of March, or March in general, is when these 5 conferences are that I've been on the board for 6 years. It's insane, but it's really, I think we've talked about this. We talk about this all the time about being reactive, but being so short at capacity that you can very easily get into this reactive mode. And so I know one of the ways that I stay super grounded in this is, first of all, I limit my exposure outside of what is happening. I say no to invites. I definitely can clam up a lot more. And I know it's a survival mechanism, but it helps me stay more grounded in who I am. So even though there were friends at the conferences and different things like that, I'm polite, I'm engaging, I'm interacting, hell, I'm emceeing. But at the same time, like, I'm not going up to people and giving hugs. I'm not hanging out with them at break. I'm not doing all the things because I have to keep everything in so that way I can stay super grounded, because the second I start taking on more people's energy when I barely have any of my own, it would put me into reactive mode.
Absolutely. It's really important at those times to recalibrate what is important and how you're operating, or you're going to end up burning everything down to the ground. That's when I feel like a lot of people fall into this whole burnout. And I'm not a huge fan of the term burnout. I think the way we're using it now is not accurate. However, I think that's what people are feeling. I think they're not understanding their full capacity. And so they're burning out because they're at capacity, because they don't know how to recalibrate under the situation that they're in. And a lot of that looks like, you're fine from the outside, and really you are reactive, you are stretched, you are making more decisions usually than usual, and you have to kind of normalize that season. It's not always going to be 110 miles an hour and, balls to the wall craziness. And this kind of stuff happens at every level. So no matter where your business is, whether you're just starting out or you are, hitting into 7-8 figures, you're going to have these moments that are a bit crazier. And, it's not, capacity isn't just about time. Capacity is a mental and emotional load as well. And so you have to, and that's, decision fatigue, all the things that go with that. So you have to really think about, like, how does this affect me? Where can I give and where can I take? And, you have to own that. You have to own that leadership load, your team, your clients, your brand, your family, your life. But what I don't like, I see happen a lot of times, is that it's this like, everything's happening to me. Oh, I'm so busy, and like the world is just, all these things are coming down at the same time. And you get this in your head where it's like, all these things are happening to you. Like, nothing's happening to you. Things are happening, and you can choose whether it's happening for you or to you or around you. You can kind of control what that is. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people as they're building their capacity, because you don't realize everything that goes into that. It's not just, can I schedule things on my calendar and be like, oh, this is how I'm blocking out my time. It's, how is this emotionally blocking out? I mean, being in the conferences, for example, and being in the 4-day intensive with other entrepreneurs where you're trying to coach them and strategize, it takes more mental energy. I mean, yeah, we're not running marathons there. We're sitting around all day, but that takes a lot of energy mentally. So it's not necessarily just, a physical versus mental versus emotional. It's all the things, and you have to take into account where you're going to stand and how you react, because how Lynn reacts to social situations is very different than how I react to them. So knowing what your capacity is personally is a huge part of it, and owning that capacity and unapologetically holding on to it. If you need a break, you need a break, and it's up to you to hold yourself accountable to that, because no one's coming to save you. No one's coming.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I didn't sit around at the conferences. I feel like that.
No, not at the conferences, but
MC, and I'm running around the whole room.
Yes, but like I was thinking particularly of the 4-day intensive. We were sitting
at the back end. We sat a lot, and it was the environment and things like that. You brought up a couple of really particular points that I want to pull from, and you didn't say it, but it can very much go to the I'm so busy kind of mentality, and that like overwhelm. And I agree with you. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you, and how we navigate that and all that good stuff. But I will say, like, because we put so much work into our processes, our structures, our mechanisms in the way that we operate, our like end goal for 2026, because that's the year that we're in right now, whatever year we're in, because we have that, and the weekly priorities, our checklists, all of this, and we're good communicators, it helps keep our business on track, like our personal business, outside of when shit hits the fan, or when we're completely at capacity, when we're stretched too thin. It is a game changer. I mean, it is what we do, right? This is what we walk alongside and make others do, mostly because they want it, but to create this so that way they have the ability to have a business that's running even in the shittiest of shit or the most chaotic of chaoses. And I cannot go through this podcast without mentioning that. And this isn't necessarily a plug for us, but it is a plug. I mean, it is, but it's a plug for like laying down those foundations, laying down the non-negotiables that we have to do. And, I know you are too, that when we're people of our word, and we're also like responsible about things. And so as we're navigating all of the chaos, but also having to make sure that our business is running, we have a responsibility that we honor our word to our business, but also to the things that we're doing. And it's really just being super, 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 super particular about the time and energy that you're putting in, and making sure you're not overextending yourself even more. Again, that's where the SOPs, the structure, the strategies, but also your boundaries come into play. I can't tell you how many times I said, I don't want to hug. I love you, but I don't want to hug. Or I went home for a couple of lunches during the conferences, because the conference is pretty close, because I needed that time to just deposit into me, to be able to make sure and even working on breaks to make sure that I'm keeping up my end of the bargain. Because I also understand that this is just a season. There's a done time and it's not all the time. And so can I push through? Absolutely. And I can, because we've done all of this work. I also am really clear on my boundaries and kind of how to center myself, etc.
Absolutely. And I think it really trickles into a lot of like the small yeses that add up. You say yes to this, you say yes to that, and then before you know it, you're way over capacity, or you start losing a grip on your non-negotiables. I mean, Lynn and I talk all the time about having 3 non-negotiables that every night we think about the 3 things that we have, the needle movers that we have to do the next day. And those are our non-negotiables that we have to do. But you start to lose grip of those. And suddenly all the other little yes things come in. You're starting to have those all the non-essential noise come in and get you off track. And so that's one of the things that kept us so grounded these last 6 weeks, is that we don't, like you say, we have the boundaries to say no. Like, these are my non-negotiables. These are the boundaries that I'm setting. I am going to say no. I don't have a problem saying no to any social situation. Like, oh, there's a slight inconvenience and you're going to cancel. Oh no.
That I have said,
which is bigger. No,
yeah.
Which is way bigger. And just knowing when you need to say no, and even if it's hard, even if it's something you want to do, because that has happened before, where there are events or people I want to see, or people who are in town. I'm like, oh, I do want to hang out with you, but I really can't. And you have to just kind of, it doesn't matter that I like you've known you for a decade. I saw you yesterday, and that was your allotted time. I have to move on now. And that's really, it's not about being rude or that they're not a good friend, but you have to hold yourself. This is the time I have. This is,
well, you have to put on your own oxygen mask at this point, like, especially when you are in this kind of mode. And we often forget that. And I know that that's cliche now, but there's truth to it. And so being able to have those boundaries and say, I have to protect myself right now as much as I can to be able to finish XYZ. And again, we're not saying set yourself up in this kind of like chaotic chaos, but it's going to happen. Like, it will happen. If your business is moving and things are growing, there are times where you are in, maybe it doesn't look the same as Amanda and I the last 6 weeks, but you're in this like chaos, right? You're in this like just crazy time. I want to say one other thing that I don't think I mentioned either. And I know I've said this on other podcasts, but I will say another staple, I'll say, in being able to do this and really like hold capacity is practicing true presence. Like, I can't give a fuck about anything else that's happening except for what's right in front of me in this time. And so how do I focus solely on this? And it is something that probably is a survival skill, but it is a skill. Like, I've trained myself to do this. It doesn't always come easy, but you can train yourself to do that hyper focus. And again, hyperfocus is slightly different than being present, but in that present moment, like being here, and especially with the conferences, you have to be a good MC. Like, you have to be feeling the room and watching it. And especially the conferences that we have and the work that we do, it's a facilitation. It's not something that is, you can just do 1, 2, 3. And so really practicing that present and that grounding into it can really help you navigate the chaos.
And I also think it's discipline.
Oh, 100%.
Because, and I'll use an example from today. I had extra time, and what I really wanted to do was go to like the aquarium with my kid, or like go to a snake museum, like let's go out. But I also knew that I probably should go over my speeches again, or I should probably check in with this client. I should do the stuff that I kind of been avoiding. Like, could it wait a day or two? Probably. But once I get into these next couple of days, that I'll be very, quote unquote busy. I'll have a lot of things stacked. And so I don't know necessarily if I will have the time to do these things. So I chose to do the thing that wasn't as fun and to stay and check emails and do some of the admin stuff that I've been avoiding on purpose. And there were some important emails that I missed. There were a lot of things, and things my assistant missed, that were stuck in a random off email because I have like 9 different emails to check. So, but the point is that it takes discipline to really look at your calendar and really look at what's going on and say, you know what? I don't have the capacity to do that one fun thing, like, do I have some time in my day? Sure. And it's not a priority. Priority is getting the work done. Priority is doing this. And there are times that my son with the aquarium, for example, is the priority. I'm not saying I neglect my child. I'm just saying that today it wasn't the priority. We did something that was closer to home, so it wouldn't be, we went to the pool instead. So it's an activity, but wouldn't require me to be an hour drive away. So it's making the hard choices. Sometimes it's not the fun thing. Sometimes you have to sit down and be disciplined. Sometimes you do have to say no to going out to dinner with your friends. Sometimes you do have to stay on track so that you're not going to be drifting off into the noise and the chaos and creating more chaos for yourself. And sometimes that's hard to see when you're in it.
Yeah, I agree. I think also like getting creative during these times, like we always talk about it and we're really good at that anyway, naturally. But I think that I definitely thought about it more of like, okay, I have XYZ because we do our 3 non-negotiables every day and et cetera, et cetera. But like, okay, how can I 2 birds, 1 stone it almost? Or like, where can I squeeze this in that's going to give me, the best outcome, XYZ? And so getting kind of like, look at like you did. Obviously, we're going to do something with your son, but you were a bit more creative versus something else. You said, hey, I'll use that time here, the travel time here, and then still have the same amount of time to be able to do the fun thing with them. I think that's great. Yeah, I find it interesting the last 6 weeks that we kind of dovetailed, right? Where it was the Bangkok and Badassery and then the 4-day intensive. I've been reflecting on this a lot since we decided we were going to talk about this because, in those moments, we're talking to entrepreneurs and businesses about like what their unclear offers are, where they're lacking in systems, where they have to like clean up messes, where there's no follow-up, no numbers, too many ideas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as much as it could throw people into a tailspin because you're in that, even though we're working them through that. And at the end, they have that strategic plan. I was really grateful for it because it helped kind of set the tone. We actually had a few days before the conferences started and Amanda and I were meeting like every other day. I think we could meet like 3 times before the conference and we banged out so much work like intensively and then had our checklist like as the weeks went on. And then now after we're done with the last one, like it just kind of comes full circle and we're like, okay, like let's make that big list again now that we're, we were doing the things that we needed to do and our team was doing the things that they needed to do and the systems are in place, which is great. So we stay visible, we stay, going through the motions, we'll say, and where we're supposed to be going. But instead of being burnt out, like I'm super stoked again, like to like get back in, roll up our sleeves and like create that list again and like knock it out. And it's quite incredible. Even if you don't do business like that, like how can you set yourself up? What are little things that you can put into place to refocus you back into your business to make sure that you're using the momentum? Because in this chaos, there was momentum. Like we can choose to be burnt out or we can choose to use it as momentum. Amanda and I choose to use it as momentum. Okay. It doesn't mean that we don't take a day. The day after that last day with the person, I spent 3 hours at the spa. I was like, screw that. I need to deposit into myself. In Thailand, spas are really like, it's not like, the US side, but it was a nice spa and it was great. And I'm like, okay, now what's next? And I think that you finding kind of what can bring you back to what's important, keep your rooted in it, but in using that as momentum, it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yes, because you're right. I'm going to speak for both of us. We're excited about what's coming up. Like things are moving forward and it's not like, oh, okay, now the summits are over and now the conferences are over. Like now I have to get back to the grind or whatever. That's not it at all because now it feels like we've been putting in small little bits. And for me, it almost feels like, great, now I can really, really hyper focus on here. We've been doing a lot of steps along the way, but now it's all going to come to fruition because we've laid that foundation and now it's go time again. And I'm really excited for it. And I think most people would look at our schedules and be like, for the love of all that's holy, it's time for a break now. I need you guys to go on vacation. And you know what? We probably will I'll probably go away for a weekend here and there, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to get the work done. And we're workaholics, so I'm excited to do the work.
We love what we do too. Actually, it makes me laugh because Vlad looked over at my calendar at one point during the conference and he's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, don't look. Close your eyes.
Look away.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, these last 6 weeks, I think, was a reminder of our capacity, a recognition of how much work we've really put in to all the things that have kept us moving forward and kept us growing. I mean, we just hit some incredible number just this week because our team is like killing it, and they wouldn't be able to do that if they didn't have us creating the structure and like encouraging them to do so. Obviously, they wouldn't be our team members, right? If they didn't have us. So it is, the last 6 weeks has just really, really taught me, at least, and reminded me, I shouldn't say taught me, reminded me that my capacity is a lot greater than what I ever think, that us as leaders are incredible. We always have room to grow, but that we've really worked on putting in the systems, the processes. We have a great team behind us that continues to help all the things. And we really hold each other accountable to stay on track, to stay focused. And both of us have our independent ways of kind of maneuvering through things. You've been listening to us. I'm a bit more on the woo-woo side. Amanda's not on the woo-woo side, although she's getting better at it. But I definitely have my ways. She has her ways. And I think it's just important because life's going to life, business is going to business. And how you maneuver through that, it can make or break you.
Well said. Well put. I think ultimately, if you are in this season of finding or worried about your capacity, remember, all you have to do is re-anchor to your core points. What is it you're actually trying to do? Cut out the things that you don't need immediately and double down on the stuff that's working. Set your boundaries, stick to them, and have the discipline to say no even when it's something you actually want. Again, it's re-anchoring those core priorities, the core things about you that you want to push forward, those non-negotiables. We know you guys can do it. It doesn't have to be a crazy March Madness to the max. It can be any season that you're in. If you're feeling that push, you're starting to get more reactive, take a look at it and see where you can make those changes for the better.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Get after it.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to thepursuitofbadassery.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.